Welcome to the city of Sheffield, guys. We have a fun-packed little short film. My name is Wolster from the Voice and Influence team. What we're gonna do is give you a little tour of Sheffield and showcase the people that we think that are standout community parents. And hopefully by the end of this film, we should have you inspired yet to join onto the movement of being a community parent.
Every person who is care experienced has their own story, their own journey. They may have been removed from their home for safety reasons. They may just be living with extended family or friends. It could be in foster care, residential homes, or seeking asylum. So there are so many different reasons that people go into the care system. Community parenting is the idea that everyone comes together to help wherever they can, to those who need that extra support. We know that care experienced individuals struggle a little more and just really benefit from people being friendly and helpful and understanding of the kind of things they've been through. You know, together we can make this city a better place for everyone to live in.
What does the term community parent mean to you?
What community parenting means to me is a recognition that all our care experienced children and young people in the city deserve and have a right to really great parenting, and that means parenting from the whole community and from every single one of us in positions of power. And so it's about us holding as as a team of parents, if you like, and making sure that we're doing the best we can for all our care experienced children and young people.
A community parent, I feel, is a guidance, so like someone of the community, obviously, that goes above and beyond to help young people, especially like myself being a care leaver, creating opportunities for young people, having their best interest at heart, you get me, rather than thinking more for how it's going to benefit them.
Community parenting to me is a feeling. It's a feeling of being responsible for our children in Sheffield. It's about looking after and safeguarding our children and young people, ensuring that they've got the opportunities that other young people would have in Sheffield, and making sure that we are ambassadors for and a voice for our children and young people, and ensuring that within my role that we're bringing people together to be community parents.
I think we have a collective responsibility to look out all the time for our care experienced young people, to listen to their lived experiences, understand how we can better respond to those lived experiences, and carve out opportunities and experiences and dreams and ambitions with and for our care experienced young people.
It's not just about offering the opportunities, it's about providing the means for people to get to those opportunities and removing the barriers.
Exactly, yeah.
But also when we see something that isn't working and they're confiding in us, we are there to sort of back them up, make sure that they can hear that we're on their side and we are listening, because it's so important that there's not just the same voices for young people. It's got to be everyone who's really invested in their lives.
One of the projects that we work on, Studio Orchestra, it's really important that we make sure that at least one of the spots on that project is available and open specifically to somebody with care experience. And that allows us then to be able to really help progress the work that they're doing and work with other organisations. Studio Orchestra will allow them to attend workshops, rehearsals, and it will finish in a live performance at the Lead Mill and then on tramlines on the main stage as part of the festival. So it's all about trying to make sure that that opportunity is available in every step of the way. It's not just a tiny bit here or a tiny bit there. It's complete involvement. It's integrated within everything that we think of and do when it comes to special projects.
I think one of our unique selling points is the way in which we utilise football to bring people together. So we work in partnership with lots of other organisations around the city to offer additional support to people that require it. So it might be around housing, if you're from refugee and asylum seeker background, it might be linking with organisations like Assist or City of Sanctuary to try and build a holistic support network for some of the young people and adults that we work with. They'll learn generic skills around sort of communication and relationship building, around sort of teamwork and linking with others, around how to interact with peers and also with adults, which helps them progress in life. It helps in relation to the relationships they build outside of being here at the centre, their schooling, getting into employment. So we'll help with employment-specific skills for our employability programme.
I always like to think of Sight Gallery as like a useful neighbour, and just be useful to Sheffield. So the Edston Suite's open, all week, and it's always free. The gallery programme is always free. Our public programme, as much as possible, is free. And then all our skills workshops are free as well. So it's kind of like setting people off on like a path of creative discovery.
So we're now going into primary schools, into secondary schools, into sixth form to say, look, there's this clear and accessible route now for everybody. Our profession isn't particularly diverse, and we want to bring more diversity because we're designing spaces for a diverse community, and so having those different voices within our business is really, really, really important for us.
Adira, as an organisation, is a survivor-led service, and we just support Black people with mental health issues. It's a self-care hub, so we'll have the clothing boutique, the toy station, we've got a cafe area, we have a computer suite, we have behind us here, which is the toiletry section, where we have culturally appropriate black skin and hair care products. And then we've got a deep freezer where we're going to be doing packs for people who are here on student visa or working visa, African professionals.
When we connect with a young person in care, we sort of think about the whole picture. So every young person who comes to Tracks, we sort of think about how they might fit in the different parts of the organisation. And that might look like they will come to the after school club on a Thursday, or maybe that won't work for them socially, maybe they need some one-to-one time, and then we can get them in there.
One of the more recent events we put on was about Eid. Predominantly Eid is celebrated with large communities, whether that's like in the mosque or in a park with large families. For a lot of people in Sheffield, particularly for people who've recently migrated into the city, for instance, they don't have large communities already because they're quite new to the city and they're kind of figuring out where they are, who their people are and all the rest of it. And they told us that, they didn't want to spend Eid alone. And so the event we put on, and it was just a really big Eid celebration that was open to everyone, but predominantly for care experienced young people. There were young people who weren't, it wasn't just young people who were Muslim, it was young people from all faiths and none who just wanted to, see what an Eid event was like. And it was just really nice to see young people from genuinely all across the city, from every postcode, just sort of mixing and having a really good time.
In my previous role at Sheffield Museums, I was able to work with various voice and influence groups, one of which was to put on a book launch at Millennium Gallery. So the voice and influence group had written a book of poetry about their experience of being in care and being looked after. And we were able to give them the same room that people like off the shelf use for book launches and for book talks, so that their book had the same platform and the same exposure as other books in the city, and that was really great.
Yeah, it was for free, wasn't it?
It was for free, yes, it was all for free. We also had a tapestry that the young people had made that we were able to put on display at the book launch, so that hundreds of thousands of visitors could see that for the time that it was up and could interact with it and start to hear about the experience of care experienced young people in our city.
I was just in a pub recently, my local pub. Landlord asked me how I was going. I explained that some young people will struggle. And he just stood up and gave us 200 quid and said, that'll help them to pay the subs. Now, for me, that's a great example because this guy doesn't want anything back. He doesn't want any praise. And what you got to remember, being a good community parent is about giving without wanting to receive as well. And there's far too many people want to give, but there's something at the back of it. And this guy's given something, but wants nothing back in return. And for me, that's a fantastic example.
But I met Wilster through my daughter. And so I wrote to him for the whole time that he was in prison, just to help keep his spirits up. And then when he came out, I made sure that I was here when he came out and said, you know, what can I do? What can my organisation do to support you? And so I helped him do some volunteering for a Daira. I had him volunteering all day long, so he'd be too tired to consider joining a gang. And that's what we did. And then through Wilster, and us setting up a self-care hub, which wasn't this space, it was a smaller space. He started bringing young people to me, and you were one of them, and that's how we met. Yeah. You came and we sat in the hub and had a good chat and a gossip, and I've been supporting you and Wilster ever since.
What organisation has made the biggest difference being a community parent?
I'd say Waterbear. I have no GCSEs, I didn't really go into school, I was homeless at 14. Pattern and Push and Waterbear came together to put out a scholarship. I'm really, really happy that I got that. And I hope that I inspire other artists and people to do whatever they want to do and aspire to be like as well.
Rose, what has been the benefits of having more care experienced people at the lead mill?
So it's really kind of made us become more thoughtful. We're so much more thoughtful and considerate now when it comes to if we're like promoting an event and what we're doing and how we can make sure that as many people as possible have got access to that. It's made our relationships with other organisations a lot stronger because it means that we can work together to help offer things collaboratively, not just independently.
So Rose has actually pulled together for us to work with a professional composer. It's scary, it's definitely out of my comfort zone, 100%, but I don't think you get very far without being pushed out of that. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't have ever pushed myself out, so I'm glad that I've got role models and guidance. Like I said, the main stage on Saturday, that's gonna be crazy.
You know, the resilience that is shown by, you know, care experienced young people, bringing that into our business and sharing that knowledge and learning from that can only make us all stronger.
So I'm really proud that we as a council have got the team, that we are trying really hard to listen, and we're not always great at it, but we're trying, and that's something that feels really big. And it's great to see, I think, just the growth, you know, of yourself, of colleagues in the team who've been given the opportunity to play a leadership role in the council and are grabbing it with both hands and challenging us to do things differently. So I'd encourage, you know, colleagues in other parts of the city, in other, you know, in businesses and other organisations to really ask themselves why they wouldn't be doing something similar.
The thing is, what you've got to remember as well is you inspire me. You know, the way you are now, you're studying interviewing me, I smile, I'm not laughing, I'm smiling because it's a proud smile, you know, and you know what you've been through, I know what you've been through, you know, and actually to see you come out the other end, for me, that's worth its weight in gold.
What advice would you give to other people who want to learn about joining community parenting?
To come and speak to our voice and influence workers, to come and speak to the team, to come and speak to people who have got lived experience.
Just do something. If you've got an idea, just go out and try it, because then you will start to see what works and what doesn't.
Don't be afraid to ask, what can I do? Just start with that question. Don't set yourself up to fail by trying to do too much too soon, or don't try and do things in a way that works for you based on your upbringing, your life, where you are at now as an adult. Make sure it's all about the young person. Be ready to get in the hole with them in a way that works for them, not a way that works for you.
To not see it as a really overwhelming, scary thing to be doing. You know, this is all about just simple things that you can kind of like slip into your business and your everyday working kind of routine or plans, to be able to just think a little bit more openly and to not see it as being some kind of like task that's really big and scary to kind of achieve. It's more about the small things that you can do and change, and they build up and then create that larger impact that happens.
Take a risk. Maybe try some co-collaboration. It's not all about funding, it's not all about money. If you come together and give your time, it'll be amazing actually what you can create.
you're looking after young vulnerable children potentially who need their hands holding a little bit. They need that little bit of extra support. And if you're communicating with parents and families and children, everyone understands what's happening. You tell them what the child has been up to, what they're getting up to next, how they've been, what their mood's like, and have those face-to-face conversations with people so that you really understand what's going on for them, so you can facilitate them further. And I think it's got to be case by case.
You're there for them, you champion them, you advocate for them.
And that we're doing everything we can to make sure that care experienced children and young people can thrive in this city and feel like they belong here.
If you're trying to deliver services that are youth-focused, then young people need to be at the heart of it, and young people need to be involved in designing the offer that you're trying to make. And part of that is ensuring that they listen, that they have the opportunities to shape the service that you're delivering.
I always say to myself, is this good enough for my child? And if the answer is no, then it is not good enough for children in care or care experienced young people.
I think there's one statistic that always comes to mind, that children are 20% of our population and 100% of our future, and our future workforce.
Yes.
So I think it's incumbent upon all of us to do whatever we can to support our next generation to thrive and succeed.
Definitely.
The more of us that have jobs within the council or jobs around the city, the more maybe people will understand what support we need, and showing the city and the rest of the country and the world that we can achieve something. We all want our own careers and want to achieve something meaningful.
See, when I was younger, what I would have wanted to see more of, which wasn't really present, was more community groups that took you in, especially if you needed to feel part of a community, because what we see in care experience people, there's not many of them that are part of a community. I wish there was more sports groups itself that cover all various types of sports. Also even mentoring days, which especially is needed in young people that don't have the mentor, even maybe that be in their family or outside lives, where that they could help them to reach their full potentials. I wish that was more prevalent in my days.
Unfortunately, lots of care experienced young people have low life satisfaction, they don't have a lot of positive relationships, and they feel lonely. And we're asking simply for you to help us better their lives and change their lives. As a voice and influence worker working with care experienced young people, I hear all the time about how they want to be involved in activities, how they want to be involved in the city. So please, we're asking you to reach out to us so we can help make this change for them.
So if you're going to be a community parent, I would say definitely step up to that, because a lot of us kids do need you guys, 100%.
Now that we have heard from everybody in the film about what community parent means and what the qualities are and how you can support us, what can you do as a community parent across the city to help better the lives of care experienced young people and support them?
If I was to make a big request of those in this city, it's to consider more caring for those who care. We know children within the care system have been through so much, but quite often we forget that those who are looking after them in whatever capacity that may be, whether it's foster carers or holiday care, it can be just as difficult. So I would like to ask, really think, what can you do to help those who care for others?
So when I was younger, I attended a youth club and I made so much good memories there. I enjoyed myself and I really had a great time, and I was really fortunate, and unfortunately not a lot of care experienced young people get to attend youth clubs or even know about them, and now there's a fewer youth clubs these days. So for any youth clubs in the city, just to reach out to us so we know what's going on and more care experienced young people can be involved and find a place where they belong. And sometimes we need support as well, sometimes we need encouragement, so being there with us to enter these new spaces will be really lovely as well. So get in touch.
My one big ask to the city is work experience
and jobs specific to care experienced young people.
For anyone that is thinking or participating in being a community parent, the biggest ask that we want from you guys is do it with love and also be active on building positive relationships, as that's shown that young people can thrive when there's positive relationships. So do not be afraid to love and do not be afraid to do it thinking of or expecting something back, just love.
If you want to get involved in community parenting and anything that we've talked about has piqued your interest or you feel like you could contribute something, get in touch. Even if you're not sure what you might do, we'd love to hear from you. Join us and be part of this movement that we want to start in Sheffield to be the best community parents we can be for all our incredible care experienced children and young people.